Hi folks, welcome back to my channel today. Uh, a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a while, especially as you get older. Uh, it's basically don't be mean to yourself. Uh, when you get to 60s and over, excuse the coots in the background making all that noise, but when you get to 60 and over, you've had probably quite a few years of bringing up families and concentrating on yourself. You've been concentrating on other people, and it's probably built up a lot of stress over the years. And as a result, you've not really been too kind to yourself. Uh, in a lot of ways, you've probably been mean to yourself. But I think you've got to think back to when you were a young man or a young woman, in your 16, 17, even 20s, when you were free and single, and you didn't have a care in the world in those days. Uh, and It was easy, life was easy, yeah, and it was simple. You just had one goal, and that was to think about yourself. Didn't have to think about others. But now that you're 60 again, or approaching retirement, uh, it's time that those days were back. You're not having to think so much about bringing up your family or concentrating on others because, you're certainly older now. You could still be with your wife or your partner, whatever, and it's time to enjoy that time. You know, it's time not to be mean to yourself. In other words, if your wife, wants to go away for a weekend to a hotel or whatever, then make the most of it, and maybe do things like that. Be together, enjoy life. Uh, get activities into your life. Uh, I've got to admit, for the last few years, uh, I got into a sort of rut where I basically didn't even want to go holidays with my wife. You know, she was going to Italy 2 years ago, and I decided I didn't want to go, and it was nothing to do with money. It was just I had this sort of thing in my head that I didn't want to travel. Uh, so I didn't go, and she ended up having to go with her cousin. Uh, and She had a great time, and I missed her. And while she was away, I didn't do very much, and I could have actually been on holiday with my wife and her cousin, and I could have been doing some filming, probably enjoying myself, but I decided not to go, and it was me being mean to myself. Well, the same thing happened again uh, this year. My wife decided she wanted to go to Portugal for a holiday, and unfortunately, I had the same sort of mindset, and I didn't want to go again. So the same thing happened. She went away with her cousin, and I missed out on a really cracking holiday. Uh, and I just realised over the last few weeks uh, that I've just been totally mean to myself. I was being silly, and I should have took full advantage while I was still able enough to go on holiday or able enough to do things. That I should have actually just made the most of it and went on holiday. So I'm planning the next time a holiday comes up to go. Uh, so there's lots of things you've got to consider when you get older, and one of the main important things is just don't be mean to yourself, folks. Now, folks, on the other hand, a wee bit of a funny story. Uh, I used to know this couple who were elderly, and they had this a son, roughly about, I think he was about 20 years old at the time, and he was autistic. And again, nothing to do with money, but the lad, he was living on his own because I don't think his parents could really be bothered with him. And one day he turned up at his mum and dad's place, which was a massive big farm, and he said to his dad, Dad, is there any chance of getting a chair for my house? Because I'm short of chairs. And his dad said, oh, for goodness sake, what next? Anyway, He says, aye, all right, son. He says, come in to my garage and we'll have a wee look. So they picked out a chair for him. And he says, oh, it's fine, great, Dad. That'll be very comfortable. And he had cycled all the way from his own wee flat, which was about 6 or 7 miles away, to get to his dad's that day. And he says, Dad, will you get one of your workmen to maybe drop the chair off to me the night? And lo and behold, his dad just says, oh, no way, son. You've got to learn to take care of yourself. He says, what I'll do is, he says, we'll get your bike and we'll strap it onto your bike and you hold onto the chair once it's been fastened onto the bike and just walk the bike all the way home. And unfortunately, that's exactly what the son had to go and do at the end of the day. And I felt really sorry for him having to walk with the bike about 6 miles home with this chair on top of it. But his father was basically being mean to him. So it's not just about being mean to yourself, but don't be mean to others either. Now, folks, lastly, this is another more or less a funny story because another couple I know were really, really well off again, and it was their 45th wedding anniversary. They were in their 70s. They didn't want for money, but they would drive about in an old Volvo car worth about £200. It was quite laughable. And they'd pick up bargains and in charity shops and things like that, things that they could maybe make a couple of pound on in an auction or whatever. And they got great joy out of that, which is fair enough. But on their wedding anniversary, they were up at the shops at the time, and they were in, I think it was Morrison's, and the wife turned to her husband and said, John, it's our 45th wedding anniversary today. He says, oh, he says, I haven't forgotten, dear. And she says, well, what will we do then? It's about, 6 o'clock at night, and we're in a supermarket. He says, just the thing though. He says, I'll be reducing some of the food right now, and we could take full advantage of that. So she says, all right, fair enough. So they picked up 2 fish suppers that had been reduced from, I think, £4.99 down to about 40 pence each because they were on their last day. So they says, that's fine. We picked those 2 fish suppers up and we'll go home and we'll cook them up. And since it's our wedding anniversary, you know what, we'll splash out. It's not often we do that. So we'll splash out, we'll buy a wee bottle of wine. And we'll make a night of it. So off they went once they'd got their shopping with these 2 fish suppers that they stuck in the oven, and they cooked them up and they sat with their bottles of wine, or one bottle of wine between the 2 of them, and that was their 45th wedding anniversary. Now that's been mean to yourself, folks. You should have took her probably to a hotel or even took her out for a meal or something like that, considering they're really, really well off. Money was not an object. So, folks, bear that in mind. So I've just basically wanted to talk to you about today, especially when you get to 60s and over, when you get to retirement, say, and, just don't be mean to yourself. It's time to enjoy life again. It's time to be 20, even though you're 60, 70, 80, because you've got the time now. You don't have to get up for your work in the morning. You've got all day, and you've got to make the most of that. You've got to enjoy it. And it's not all about money, as I say. It's just about not being mean to yourself. Take up hobbies, go out cycling, get fit, whatever you want to do. Go for bus journeys because it's a free bus pass when you are in your 60s. All these sort of things you can do. And I'm sure you're going to thank me for it at the end of the day if you decide to go that way rather than scrolling away lots and lots of money and not doing anything with it. And basically just sitting in a house all day complaining about this and complaining about that. Basically, don't be mean to yourself. That's my story for you today. So if you like this wee video, folks, by all means, if you can like and subscribe as normal, That'd be brilliant, and we'll see you in the next wee video. You take care now. Bye for now.